Good morning, everyone. I'm Rob Bonta, California Attorney General. Thank you for coming and joining us today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to announce a lawsuit that we are filing today. It's against Gatalog Foundation, Inc. and Control PU LLC for unlawfully distributing computer code used to print 3D firearms, commonly known as ghost guns, as well as other dangerous firearm accessories to Californians who have not passed background checks or obtained a license to manufacture firearms. So today, we are holding them accountable for promoting and facilitating the unlawful manufacture of 3D printed firearms and machine guns in California. Before we dive in, I want to thank my great friend, San Francisco City Attorney David Chiu, and his team for their partnership and leadership in this case. We're grateful for the opportunity to team up, to work together, to aggregate our resources and bring our different talents together for this common important cause. And we've done that in the past. We will do it in the future. But I just want to say how proud I am, thankful I am for the partnership we have with the best city attorney's office in the nation. You thought I was going to say the state, but I said the nation. Really excited to be here. And many of you know, former Assembly Member David Chiu, now City Attorney David Chiu, and I have teamed up on many important efforts and tackled many problems and challenges that our communities are facing. And again, grateful for the opportunity to do that again today. As California's chief law enforcement officer, protecting our communities from gun violence, including evolving threats, remains one of my highest priorities. And I do want to just highlight that the challenges change, they evolve. They're different tomorrow than they are today. And we need to evolve as well and be responsive to meet the moment and rise to the challenge. And 3D printed ghost guns were not a issue 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They're an issue today, and they require action, not just talk. And today is about action. When it comes to gun violence, the methods may change, the technology may change, but the harm is the same, and our message remains consistent. If you exploit new technology to break our gun laws and to endanger Californians, we'll hold you accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Today's lawsuit reflects that commitment. Gatalog Foundation and Control PU LLC unlawfully distributed into California downloadable files containing computer code that allows individuals to 3D print firearms, firearm components, and dangerous devices designed to convert illegally printed ghost guns into assault weapons and machine guns. We're talking about machine gun conversion devices, including Glock switches, illegal large capacity magazines, and silencers, and more. And just to be clear here, some of the items, and these are the 3D printers that are used. You can get them for $200 on Amazon if you wish. They use filament to print with using the code as guidance, plastic component parts, including the parts that we're talking about today, including frames and the other accessories. Many of the items that are the defendants provide code to print could be legal if sold through a licensed, a federally licensed dealer, but many of them are illegal no matter how they're sold. But they're all illegal when they're sold on the internet without any background checks, without any serial numbers, as the defendants are doing and as we are challenging. So everything that's been sold by the defendants has been done with no safeguards, no legal compliance. They provided step-by-step instructions for 3D printing firearms, sold merchandise, and solicited donations to fund further development of ghost gun designs. They also operated a platform where gun developers could share and test 3D printed firearm designs before releasing them for broader distribution on the internet, effectively serving as a hub for illegal weapon manufacturing. These defendants sought to gain an unfair and unlawful business advantage by promoting skip the background check products and services, facilitating the illegal manufacture of firearms, and enabling the conversion of legal weapons into illegal assault weapons and machine guns. That's why we're here today. We're seeking a court order to immediately halt the illegal business practices of Gatalog Foundation, Inc. and Control PU LLC. Let me be clear. Ghost guns are guns. Ghost guns are guns. They're firearms just like any other. The difference is that ghost guns are built from products sold, or in this case 3D printed, without background checks, without sale records, serial numbers, or other basic safety precautions. They're unmarked. That's why they're ghosts. You can't trace them. It's no surprise that the ghost gun industry has had such a widespread appeal to people who are too young or too dangerous to pass background checks in our state. They would normally have to go through a background check, be of the appropriate legal age, but they can bypass all that by going online and purchasing a ghost gun or purchasing the code to 3D print a ghost gun. And it's why these products, this code and these ghost guns, they pose such an enormous threat to public safety. A report from our Office of Gun Violence Prevention, the first of its kind in the nation, I can't resist saying, it found that in the 2 years before I took office, ghost guns recovered from violent crime increased by more than 1,000%. 1,000%. And ghost guns recovered from domestic violence incidents increased by more than 1,200%. That surge in ghost guns helped drive broader increases in firearm-related domestic violence across our state, unfortunately. We've also seen sharp increases in 3D printed conversion devices used to turn firearms into illegal automatic weapons, into machine guns. That report includes real-world examples of the dangers ghost guns pose. And I want to make this real for a moment by talking about just an incident or two. Like when a law enforcement officers in San Jose arrested a man for felony domestic violence and removed a ghost gun his victim said he had pointed at her to violently threaten her life. Officers informed the man that a court had issued a protection order prohibiting him from keeping the gun under California law. And his reply was, then I'll just build another one. I'll just build another one, after having an order restraining him and prohibiting him from keeping a gun under California law. Ghost guns have been used in mass shootings, in domestic violence incidents, gang and community violence, hate crime shootings, unintentional shootings by children, and in countless other devastating situations. In recent years, we've made major progress combating ghost guns through strong laws, aggressive enforcement, and our accountability efforts. But the ghost gun industry continues to exploit new technologies, including 3D printing, to evade the law. With about 46,000 gun deaths nationwide each year, and firearms standing as the leading cause of death for young people and children, we can't afford to allow untraceable firearms to take root in our communities. And California's success proves what's possible if we face the problem and confront it and do everything in our power to address it. If the national gun death rate matched ours over the last decade, nearly 140,000 lives could have been saved. So California has long been a blueprint and an inspiration for what other states could do should they show the political courage and the commitment, follow the data-driven policies that work, that save lives, that prevent gun violence from happening in the first place. Part of this progress is because at DOJ we recognize ghost guns for the threat that they are, and we're taking action to protect our communities from the skip the background check ghost gun industry. So we're going to continue to take on illegal actors who exploit technology to undermine public safety. And as California's Chief Law Enforcement Officer, I will continue to marshal the full resources, the expertise, and the creativity of DOJ to keep ghost guns and illegal firearms out of our communities. I do, as I always do, want to take a moment to thank my team leading this life-saving work. They are true public servants who are getting the job done. They don't want the recognition, and I'm sure they are not happy with what I'm about to do, but I want to recognize them for their incredible work. Proud to be their colleague and to work side by side with all of them. Jake Fernandez, Belinda Chan, Michelle Koseng, Vesna Kook, Andrew Weiner, Daniel Du Bois, Michael Ellisoffen, and Nick Akers. And I will circle back to open up the questions, but before that, I want to turn it over to my great friend. Proud to call such a great leader in San Francisco, someone that I have continued to work with and look forward to working with in the future. David Chiu, San Francisco City Attorney.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. And let me first start by welcoming our great Attorney General, Mr. Bonta, back to San Francisco, and thank him for his tremendous leadership on so many topics, particularly public safety, and really appreciate the partnership of our office working with his office. Today, I am pleased to team up with AG Bonta as we are cracking down on websites distributing gun blueprints for 3D printers. As our AG just described, Gatalog is a group of websites and individuals that promote illegal firearm usage by unlawfully distributing codes to create 3D printed firearms. These gun codes distributed by Gatalog have been linked to violent crimes around the world, including terrorism and drug trafficking. Ghost guns pose a significant threat to public safety. Ghost guns made by 3D printers bypass federal background checks, lack serial numbers for law enforcement to trace, and are inexpensive compared to firearms sold by gun retailers. As the AG just mentioned, 3D printers capable of printing firearm parts start at $200, and the materials needed cost only $20 to $30. Meanwhile, a typical Glock model handgun retails for around $500 or more. With 3D printers, guns can be assembled fully within one day. Gatalog has been distributing over 150 designs for dangerous and untraceable weapons and prohibited accessories. And by illegally disseminating these codes, Gatalog has made it quick, cheap, and easy for anyone, including teenagers, to 3D print ghost guns and convert firearms into machine guns. They make it easy to put guns into the hands of dangerous individuals, including those who are barred from owning firearms. And let me just remind the public that those barred include persons convicted of dangerous felonies, who are subject to domestic violence or gun violence restraining orders, who are involuntarily hospitalized for dangerousness due to mental health disorders, as well as underage individuals. Now, a little bit of background. California's ghost gun crisis has escalated dramatically over the past decade. In 2015, our state's law enforcement agencies recovered just 26 ghost guns. Between 2019 and 2021, ghost gun recoveries increased by 592%, accounting for nearly 70% of the statewide rise in crime gun recoveries. From 2021 to 2023, California recovered an average of over 11,000 ghost guns per year. Ghost guns have posed a significant threat to public safety here in San Francisco. Some stats: in 2020, ghost guns made up 44% of the guns recovered in homicides in our city, compared to just 6% in 2019. And then 1 year later, in 2022, San Francisco had the third highest instances of ghost guns used to commit crimes in California. And I will share one anecdote from our city. At the end of 2023, a San Franciscan pled guilty to selling ghost guns out of his home to drug dealers and other criminals. When he was arrested, law enforcement found several ghost guns, including fully automatic AR-15 machine guns, AK-47 parts, ammunition, 2 3D printers, and a machine to drill metal gun parts. When we learned about the impact of Gatalog on San Francisco and California, we approached the Department of Justice, and I want to thank AG Bonta and his tremendous colleagues for their partnership in the investigation and this lawsuit. I also want to thank Karun Tilak, Ron Lee, Sarah Eisenberg, Yvonne Murray, and others in my office for their work, as well as the San Francisco Police Department and Chief Derek Liu for their partnership. I want to take a moment and just acknowledge that we are in one of the most beautiful branch libraries in San Francisco, and I want to thank and welcome our librarian, Michael Lambert, for being here today. And also want to mention that in the legislature, I was a co-founder of the Gun Violence Working Group, and I want to thank Mr. Bonta and our former colleagues for passing recent laws that we are enforcing for the first time with this lawsuit. In close, Catalog makes its digital firearm codes available without any restriction and are actively encouraging their users to defy firearm regulations and use these codes to illegally manufacture 3D printed guns. We're asking the court to stop Catalog's illegal distribution of ghost gun blueprints, which circumvent gun safety laws and make us all less safe. Working with our great Attorney General, we will continue to fight to ensure that this scourge of ghost guns and how they are distributed is stamped out in California, and I look forward to continuing that work with the Attorney General's office. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Adam Skaggs, and I'm Chief Counsel and Vice President at Giffords Law Center, the legal arm of the gun violence prevention organization led by former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. On behalf of Giffords Law Center, I want to commend the Attorney General and the City Attorney for their leadership and for the decisive action that they're taking today to address the threat to public safety posed by ghost guns. As you've heard this morning, and as is laid out in great detail in the complaint, over the last decade, ghost guns have emerged as a profound threat to public safety and a principal driver of gun violence in San Francisco and California and in the nation as a whole. That threat has been acutely felt here in San Francisco and across the whole state, which has been the epicenter of the ghost gun epidemic. That's largely because California's strongest in the nation gun laws make it very difficult for prohibited persons to get their hands on guns, traditional regulated firearms. And as a result, they turn to ghost guns. People who cannot legally pass a background check and buy a gun at a federally licensed dealer turn to ghost guns to arm themselves. And that's why we're here this morning. But if California's been the epicenter of the ghost gun crisis, it's also been at the forefront of confronting this challenge. And leaders like City Attorney Chiu and Attorney General Bonta are at the vanguard leading this fight. We're grateful to partner with these exemplary leaders to confront ghost guns as we have for years. Going back to the first Trump administration, Giffords Law Center partnered with the Office of the Attorney General to sue Trump's ATF, the agency, the federal agency that regulates firearms. We sued ATF to force it to regulate ghost guns just like every other gun, because that's what ghost guns are. And that lawsuit, with the Attorney General's office, compelled ATF to issue a rule that did exactly that. It classified ghost guns just like all other guns. That was challenged, and we fought all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to defend that rule, to protect the progress we'd made, and we won at the Supreme Court. But that's not it. While that lawsuit against ATF was making its way through the courts, we joined the Attorney General in another lawsuit that targeted 3 ghost gun companies that were unlawfully and brazenly doing business in the state of California while violating a variety of state and federal gun laws. And through that lawsuit, we permanently stopped all 3 of those companies from ever doing business in the state of California again. So we've made great progress on ghost guns. But reckless and irresponsible actors in the gun industry continue to choose to violate the law if it allows them to profit from selling guns to people who cannot legally have them. People like minors, domestic abusers, people convicted of violent felonies. And they sell guns to these prohibited persons even when doing so is clearly illegal. That's precisely what the defendants who have been sued this morning have chosen to do, and that's what this lawsuit is going to hold them accountable for. After we succeeded in closing the original ghost gun loophole and stopping the sale of ghost gun kits that contained unfinished products, these defendants came up with a new approach. Call it Ghost Guns 2.0, where instead of selling unfinished ghost gun parts and kits, they instead distributed code to 3D print the same parts that used to be sold in unfinished form. And they conspire with other actors to sell kits with all the remaining parts to build lethal, untraceable guns without background checks. These guns, as of today, can be constructed by anyone in this state without a single background check. And make no mistake, the defendant's conduct here is profoundly unethical. It's also illegal under California law, and today's decisive action will stop this unlawful conduct and hold those defendants accountable. Today's action by the City Attorney and Attorney General will protect California communities across the entire state and here in San Francisco. And as important, it sets the standard as an example for leaders across this country to follow their lead and fight Ghost Guns 2.0. It's an honor to stand here with Attorney General Bonta, City Attorney Chiu, and again, I applaud them for their leadership in this important issue. Thank you. Thank you, Attorney General. Back to you.
Well, thank you. I do want to give special recognition to Assemblymember Mike Gibson, who has been just a real champion when it comes to confronting our challenge when it comes to ghost guns. And as the challenge has evolved to include 3D printing, he has continued to author critical legislation upon which we rely today in our lawsuit. So a special shout out to our legislators doing important work, specifically Mike Gibson in this case. It allows us to do what we do, which is to enforce and bring lawsuits consistent with the law and based on the legislation that they pass. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions and